Guten Tag, allerseits. Good day, everyone. I am Efren Jr., a BSBA Financial Management student of International School of Asia and the Pacific. And I will be your presenter for this topic with regards to intercultural communication of Germany. By the way, what is communication? Communication in general is a process of sending and receiving messages that enables humans to share knowledge, attitudes, and skill. Although we usually identify communication with speech, communication is composed of two dimensions, verbal and nonverbal, wherein we are going to tackle that in this presentation. But before that, let me first introduce to you to my chosen country. This is the historical Neo-Renaissance building in Germany. The building is since 1999, the seat of the German parliament officially. The Bundestag, Germany's only constitutional body. Brief background of Germany. Germany, officially the Federal Republic of Germany, is a Central Western European country with the second biggest population in the region. The official language of Germany is Dutch German. Most Germans are taught Standard Dutch, Standard German in school, also known as Hochdeutsch, High German. However, there are varying regional accents and dialects across the country. For example, those in many areas of northern Germany speak a West Germanic variation known as Plattdeutsch, Low German. The pronunciation and features of this dialect have similarities with the language spoken in Netherlands. Meanwhile, the Germanic dialect of the southern border, Bayerisch Bavarian, is similar to the Austrian Germanic dialect. But despite some differences in phrases and meanings, Germans from all regions can usually understand one another. How do Germans greet people? Greetings generally differ in formality depending on whether a German knows the other person well or not. The most common greeting is a handshake with direct eye contact. Men usually greet women first and wait for them to extend their hand. Close friends may hug to greet, and younger people may kiss one another on the cheek. Also, Guten Tag, good day, or Hallo, hello are the most common verbal greetings used in Germany. In the South, some people may say Grüß Gott, literally translating as greet God. In formal situation, one should address another person with their title and last name, Herr, Mr. for men, and Frau, Mrs. for women. It is polite to continue to use formal titles until the person invites you to move on to first name basis. Next one is the direct manner. Be aware that Germans are direct communicators and can interpret gestures literally, even when they are made as a token of politeness. For example, if a German asks if you want food and you respond no to avoid appearing greedy, they may accept your first answer and not ask again. This can put some foreigners in difficult positions when the refusals or protest of an offer is taken at face value. As such, it is best to give straightforward, honest answers rather than being indirect out of modesty or shyness. In relation to this direct communication pattern, do not press the German on a matter if they have already given you their response. For instance, if you have offered them a beverage and decline, do not insist further that they have one. Although this may seem generous on your behalf, this can make them feel awkward and pressured. Next one is their basic etiquette. It is rude to chew gum on or keep one's hands in one's pocket while speaking with someone. Cross your legs by putting one knee over the other. It is impolite to rest your feet on furniture. Tight punctuality expected in most professionals and situations. Being punctual is very important in Germany. It is considered very rude not to be on time. Showing up early is a good idea. Rushing around and arriving late will leave a bad impression for them. Also for them, Recycling and reusing materials and minimizing waste is very important. Also, knock before entering a room if someone has shut the door. Germans are often happy to receive people even if their doors are shut, but one should enter respecting their privacy. It is common for Germans to share tables with strangers in public places, asking, "Is this your Platz not free? Is this seat free?" Dress neatly and suitably for the occasion. Very casual clothing such as singlets and thongs are not usually appropriate to wear in public. Do not cross the road on foot while the lights are red. Jaywalking is frowned upon in Germany. In terms of their visiting, Germans sometimes prefer to socialize in public group activities rather than in people's homes. Hence, Germans generally do not invite people to visit their house on a regular basis unless they are very close. Organize your visit in advance. Germans rarely visit each other without making plans to do so. Be punctual on arriving. Tight punctuality. Tardiness of around 10 to 15 minutes can be forgiven. It is a nice gesture to bring flowers, wine, or sweets when visiting a German's home. Hosts usually serve refreshments even if the visit is only going to be short. Do not enter into the other rooms of the house unless the host invites you to. Guests are expected to respect the homeowner's privacy. Next one, visit to one's house during the daytime are usually short, between 1 to 2 hours long. However, they are usually more prolonged in the afternoon. Dress neatly and suitably for the occasion. This is considered coffee clutch, time when refreshments are served as an afternoon tea. In terms of their eating, all start once the host has said that it's time to begin. The German term for this is Guten Appetit. Germans rarely drink tap water with their meals. They prefer mineral water, a soft drink, juice, beer, or wine. Sometimes these beverages are cheaper than still water. If an alcoholic beverage is served, wait until the host makes a toast before drinking. A common toast is pros, which is in English, cheers. It is very important to look people in the eyes as you toast. Also, people generally serve themselves from plates of food that are passed around the table. Traditionally, Germans cut fish, potatoes, and other similar foods with the side of their fork instead of the knife. This indicated that the food was tender and properly cooked. However, not many people follow this rule of etiquette anymore. Next one, do not rest your elbows on the table and always keep your hands in view above the table. Lastly, if you are still hungry after the first serving of food, it is not rude to ask for a second serving. Germans are generally very hospitable, offering refills of drinks and food, but guests are also expected to speak up if they want something. It is the best practice to eat everything on your plate as this shows that you enjoy the meal and that the host provided enough food. Leaving food on your plate is considered wasteful. Gift giving. Germans usually open gifts upon receiving them. Next, if gifting flowers, the bouquet should not count to an odd number. Red roses have romantic connotations, while carnations, lilies, and chrysanthemums are given at funerals. Actually, they should be unwrapped before giving them to the recipient. Avoid giving personal items such as toiletries unless you are close friends and know the person will appreciate the item. And now we're going to their communication style, verbal and nonverbal. But first, let me define what is Verbal communication. Verbal communication is a type of oral communication wherein the message is transmitted through the spoken words. Here the sender gives words to his feelings, thoughts, ideas, and opinions and expresses them in the form of speeches, discussions, presentations, and conversations, while nonverbal communication includes facial expressions, eye contact, tone of voice, body posture, and motions, and also positioning within groups. It may also include the way we wear our clothes or the silence we keep. Okay, let's proceed to verbal communication. Direct communication. German communication styles are quite direct and functionally purpose. People generally speak honestly, clearly, and explicitly to arrive straight to the point. Criticism may be delivered vaguely in order to remain polite and avoid offense. But a German's intention and meaning is usually clear and apparent through their precise word choice. This communication style can cause Germans to interpret others' words literally. It can also give some foreigners the impression that they are quite brash or blunt. However, it is simply their way of ensuring clear communication. Next, small talk. As German's communication is quite functionally purpose, people tend to spend less time warming up conversation with small talk. It is not considered rude to jump straight to the point of a meeting or conversations. Germans are usually open to indulging in idle chit-chat when they notice their counterpart wants to talk lightly. However, they are unlikely to initiate it. Next, honesty. While it is important to be polite and discreet when delivering difficult news, it is also very important to be honest with Germans. They generally speak openly about what is important to them. Avoid being evasive when you are asked sensitive questions. Exercise discretion and honest. Indirect behavior is likely to be interpreted literally. Humor. Germans are often laugh about the irony of the situation, wordplay, and innuendos. However, many of these jokes lose their hilarity when translated into English. Furthermore, Germans are quite direct communicators. They may take jokes literally. For example, missing the sarcasm in the speaker's tone. This has been the German people be stereotyped or humorless and serious. Be careful when making self-depreciating jokes as they are less common in Germany. If the German you're speaking with is not familiar with such humor, it can easily be misinterpreted as a real lack of self-confidence. The same can be said jokes that talk about another person's feeling as the punchline. Next one, silence. Germans tend to speak once they have something of significance to say and have already refined their opinion. As such, they do not always have the compulsion to fill the silence. And that is how German people communicate verbally. So let's proceed on how German people communicate non-verbally in terms of their personal space. Germans usually keep about an arm's length distance between one another when talking, and sometimes a little extra between men and women, depending on how well they know each other. Because for them, standing too close to someone can be seen as invasion of their privacy. So take note of that. Physical contact. People tend not to touch one another very much during communication unless they are close friends. Touching someone on the shoulder or arm to emphasize a point is generally acceptable, but can otherwise be seen as sexual advance. Women tend to be more physically affectionate with each other than men. It is polite to apologize if you accidentally bump into someone or make unwanted physical contact by saying Entschuldigung, excuse me in German. Eye contact. Direct eye contact is expected, especially when speaking about a serious matter. For them, this conveys sincere approachability because avoiding eye contact may be seen as indication of dishonesty or a lack of confidence. It is appropriate to break eye contact now and again, as holding it for prolonged periods can make people uncomfortable. When talking to a group, be sure to make equal eye contact with all people present. Gestures. Touching your index finger to your thumb is in a circle to demonstrate okay or good can be misunderstood. So, Germans, Germans squeeze the tip of their thumb between those two fingers to indicate hoping for something or good luck. Letting one's thumb protrude too far from between the fingers can be obscene gesture, so only the tip should be visible. Pointing. Most Germans use their index finger to point, but some may use their little or pinky finger. Lastly, expression. Some Germans may have a quite serious exterior upon first meeting people, reserving smiles for friends. But once they are familiar with someone or with you, they generally become more animated. And with that, danke. I hope you've learned something and may God bless us all.